Today we have with us another young Indian as part of the Voice of the Young series. Hello everyone, good to be back with you. Today we have with us Dipti Singhania. Let's listen to her. Over to you, Dipti.
Firstly, thank you, Dr. Mathur, for inviting me for this thing. This is a very nice initiative. Uh, uh, so I have been born and brought up in Calcutta, and I've completed my master's in economics from University of Calcutta. And after that, I joined a public policy think tank that focused on technology, innovation, and R&D. And my motive, since the focus here is economics, I would like to go back to my school, like when I started studying
Yeah.
economics in class 9. And it was really my teacher who, the way she taught, that fascinated me. And it's since then that I have thought that I want to pursue economics. And so after that, I did my graduation in economics, I did my master's in economics, and then I started working at a public policy think tank. Um, and so I'm into research, mostly research and public policy. And the fascination for research came in when I was doing my master's. When I worked on the term paper mostly. So that is when I really got to know like what research is about and uh, what I mean, going in depth into things, and that that really fascinated me. So, and other thing that has always motivated me is to do something for the country and the society, and which is why I wanted to go into uh, public policy uh, aspect of it. And right now I'm working. I've switched a bit, switched the area a bit. So I'm working in education now, but the work is still economics, research, and data management.
Mhm. Mhm. So let's continue.
So maybe I'll highlight some of the work that I've done in the
Yeah,
last 5 years.
yeah.
So I've worked a lot with data, primary data and secondary data. Uh, and it's mostly been like macro level data surveys. Uh, and given that people, anyone who wants to go into research, they really have to get their hands dirty into data. So that has been a very nice exposure that I've got. And one thing that has, apart from studies, something that has really helped me, when looking back at it, is my volunteering experiences that I've had and that I used to do during my bachelor's mostly. And that has really helped me build my soft skills and my communication skills, my critical thinking, and so on. And this is something I would suggest to like everyone who's still studying or who's just gotten into the job market, that one should also devote some time to volunteering experiences, meeting people, networking, because that is something that really helps in building empathy, uh, building your soft skills, and that is what matters in the long run. So yeah.
So what was your volunteer work like?
My volunteering work was mostly spending time with children in slum, organizing courses for people, happiness courses for people, and also organizing like large scale events. There was one global event that I helped organize, not organize, but just a small aspect of the social media marketing for that. And there I got to interact with so many people. What exactly? So that I also learned a bit about marketing in that. Uh, I learned uh, I learned that. Uh, oh, sorry, I'm out of words. But
Well, I think you're making a general point that college is not about going to classes only. You have to go to classes, but it's really about getting out of that shell of high school into somebody who knows the real world. Is that what
Yeah.
happened to you? That you were in some sheltered high school and then you found some growth outside in college and so on? Is that what happened to you?
Uh, so yeah, in high school I didn't have that much of an volunteering experience because most of the time usually goes into studies and exams. But in college, obviously, I took up a course, and after that, I signed up as a volunteer for that organization, and that really gave me that real life exposure along with my studies, which helped me later in my uh, job and also other things that I do. So yeah,
So, who suggested to you that you should become a volunteer? Was it just something in your own mind?
uh, I didn't have that in mind per se, but it's just something my friends were signing up for, and I thought maybe it's a good uh, thing to start with. And even when there were times like when I was too indulged in volunteering, and sometimes my grades got affected because of that as well. And I did get advice at that time that you have your whole life to pursue uh, volunteering and other things, but studies are important. But uh, now when I look back at it, I realize that that has really helped me uh, before I started my job.
Yeah.
So, and I strongly suggest people should devote some time into volunteering during their studies, uh, or some networking or anything outside of their regular degree, basically.
What kind of
So,
network have you built? Apart from being
so
connected to me, what kind of network have you built?
so I've built like at different points in time, I've built different sorts of networks. So during my college, when I was volunteering, it was mostly young people, uh, and most of them don't have their life figured out at that age. And even at this age, I don't think most people have their life figured out, and that's completely normal. So young people who wanted to do something for the country, who wanted to do something for the society, and that is the kind of network I built when I was in college. And then later, when I got into masters, it was more about people who are into research. So the papers that we read, we used to discuss those papers. So mostly like more intellectual and thoughtful uh, crowd that I met at that point. And then when I started working, the network was more about uh, technology innovation, people working in this area, and people really wanting to bring a change in the country through technology and R&D. So, and now since I'm in education, I'm looking to connect more with people who are working in education.
Okay, so what have you found out about education? Have you had enough
Uh,
time to do research or it's just starting?
it's just started. It's been 2 months now.
Oh,
So it's not, but I'm currently working with the state government in improving the education system in the country and mostly helping manage their data. So the state has like a large scale data available with them, and basically making sense of that data as and when required, and helping them store it in a proper format, uh, have like quality checks on the data, whether it's okay, not okay, what else the state could collect, and also capacity building program for teachers.
capacity building. What
Yeah.
capacity? I'm curious.
So right now, because since my focus is on data management, I've helped in developing an online course for MIS personnel in the schools and district level in the state about how they can manage their data. So how to keep the data clean, because there's a lot of data that each school and the state as a whole has. But if we start it at the ground level, I think that is when we can achieve it at the state level and then the national level.
What
And apart from, yeah.
So what do they do with this data? I mean, are you making policy? In the end, will it be policy or analysis, or what is the aim of this data? Why are they collecting so much data?
So there are multiple reasons for collecting data. One is helping in policy making, of course. The insights from the data are used to help in the policy. And the second one is uh, studying the impact of the policies that have been introduced. So suppose if we have the data from before a certain policy or a measure was introduced, and we have the data after the policy was introduced, and we see what the impact has been uh, over time.
But does the government really do this kind of research, or is it the think tanks that do this kind of research?
Yes. So I am associated with UNICEF, and we are working with the government. We've partnered with the government and getting the data from the government and helping them with the report.
Yeah,
It's
because
not in-house made.
they don't have the interest or capacity to do this kind of work, do they?
At some level, they do, but not as much as a think tank or another partner organization would have. So that is something that I think even in my earlier job that we pushed for is to like uh, allow for policy making based on data. So
Yeah,
basically, evidence based policy making,
yeah.
and which is there in the government, but not I would say not enough as of now, and it's the government is slowly adapting to it.
Okay.
So,
All right. So what is the what are some of the important or interesting things coming out of your think tank that other people might be interested in, that you are aware of? Because just to hear from you, what is it that excites you about the think tank? What is the finding that is important to you?
so, I'll talk briefly about the think tank that I work with, and there we focus on a very niche area, which is technology and innovation, and it just started picking up in the country as a whole, and India is one of, I mean, it's not spending enough on R&D right now, is what is the basis of the think tank. And the second thing that we made a case for is even whatever the country is spending on R&D is mostly through public institutions. It's not through industry. Whereas if we look at other countries, leading countries, and also some of the developing economies, uh, it's mostly the industry that's driving the R&D.
Hmm.
And India is an outlier in this case. So that is the I would say major focus of the think tank, and in and around that we've had various projects that we worked on, even capacity building for industry leaders, for scientists, and so on. So one of the major findings that we saw, it's known to people, but we did not. I mean, earlier the data. I mean, even like people were making a case for industry doing more R&D, and public institutions not collaborating enough with higher education institutions and industry. But a recent study that we did, there we saw that with the help of data, with the survey, we saw that this is actually true. Earlier, there was not enough data to make a case for that, even though people knew that was happening. But it's only through data that we are able to validate that fact.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you if you have the data, that's much better than simply guessing. Yeah, that's okay. And anything else, about college or masters that you want to talk about? Some fun, some excitement, something that opened your eyes, or whatever.
Um, I think just uh, meeting new people and meeting people from different backgrounds is something has that has uh, changed my thinking over time, even in college and even in the work that I do. Uh, and I think that diversity is very important for an individual's growth. So that is something that I would
So
like to
what's
do.
the kind of diversity that you encountered and that made you realize that India is diverse? What's the, just curious as to what is this diversity that you encountered?
Um, so when I was studying here, the group was fairly small, and it was not that diverse because most of the people were born and brought up in the same city, and mostly everyone was from the same background. But I also got to know during like different conversations I used to have with my peers during masters, like what their thought process is. So in terms of their thinking, I think like for example, we used to have debates on capitalism versus Marxism and so on and so forth. So I found those to be very fascinating. Now, and when I started working, people were from different states. My peers were all from different states. And when COVID struck, and we were working on our handbook, which we publish every 2 years, everyone was working online from different parts of the country. Some from Maharashtra, someone from Assam, someone from West Bengal, and so on. And everyone like came from their different core backgrounds, uh, and we still managed to do a good job. So, and also the experiences that my peers used to share about uh, how they lived in a different country and uh, what kind of people they met, and basically exchanging experiences, knowledge, thoughts, ideas. That is something that uh, really transforms the way a person thinks.
Wonderful. Okay, I'm glad that you had that experience, and indeed, it's a very important part of, I think it's a very important part. Okay, anything else you want to tell us?
No, I think that's all.
Okay, all right, you're enjoying your work,
Yeah, it's
and they
just
pay,
it's a new journey now. So
yeah,
yeah,
and they're
I'll
paying
take
you
some
well,
time to settle.
and they're paying you well.
I think that's a very that's a big elephant in the room when one is working in the development sector and
Yeah,
research and academia. So
I mean,
yeah,
if your friends have gone into corporate, obviously they're making more money, right?
yes, they
And,
are. And at times, I think that also that thought does come to one's mind that people are working in corporate and earning much better and living a better standard of life. Uh, and but then when I look at the work that I do and the satisfaction it gives me, I think I do this fine.
okay,
So
wonderful. So it's a choice that you don't regret. It's a choice that you
yes,
like. Okay.
yes.
Well, the smile on your face gives us the answer. So I think that's a
And
very
I would suggest that everyone should do what they love. And I know that it's difficult in this very competitive world. It's very difficult to not chase money or not chase materialistic things. And I'm anyway a very spiritual person. Uh, so I would suggest that if a work is giving you happiness over time, that will also give you money.
okay,
So
wonderful. That's I think that's a very wise thing to say. That look, you need uh, of course they pay you because you are working, but you can't hate your work.
yeah.
You can't hate your work and survive. I think that's true. Okay, I think can we end it here, or you want to say something more?
No, I'm done. Thank
Okay,
you.
fine. So let's say bye to the viewers. Bye, everybody. We will
Bye.
be back. I'll be back with another young person next time or an expert. Till then, bye. Okay, bye bye.
Bye.